If I told you that 5 specific habits completely reshaped not only the way I earn money but the way I think, act, and live, you might not believe me at first. You might think millionaire habits are about waking up early, working longer hours, or having some secret business strategy, but that's not what changed my life. What changed my life were the simple, disciplined, principle-driven habits I committed to every single day, habits that rewired my mindset, sharpened my focus, and aligned my actions with long-term wealth. Becoming a millionaire didn't happen because of luck or a single breakthrough. It happened because I made small, intentional decisions that compounded over time into massive results. If you've ever felt stuck, if you've ever looked at your life and thought, I should be further ahead by now, then this message is for you. I'm going to show you the 5 millionaire habits that completely transformed my life, and if you're willing to apply them, they can do the same for you. But before we get into it, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because what you're about to hear isn't motivation, it's a blueprint. And if you're serious about building real wealth and freedom, this channel is where we do it together. Let's dive in. The first millionaire habit that changed my life was paying myself first. This concept sounds simple, but most people never actually practice it. For years, I thought financial success was about making more money. I told myself, once I start earning more, I'll start saving. But I learned the hard way that if you can't manage $1,000, you'll never manage $10,000, $100,000, or even $1 million. The number doesn't change the habit, you do. So I flipped the script. Instead of saving whatever was left after expenses, I started treating my savings and investments as my first and most important bill. Every time I got paid, I paid myself first 10%, 20%, sometimes even more, automatically, without negotiation. That money went straight into accounts I didn't touch. At first, it was uncomfortable. My lifestyle had to adjust. But within months, I realized something powerful. When you take care of your future self first, your present self learns to adapt. Paying myself first wasn't just about saving, it was about self-respect. It was about acknowledging that my goals mattered more than my impulses. I stopped chasing instant gratification and started building delayed gratification into my identity. That's the difference between people who stay stuck and those who build wealth. It's not income, it's intention. The second millionaire habit that changed my life was being obsessed with consistency. Consistency is the quiet power behind every wealthy person I've ever met. It's not the big leaps that make you rich. It's the small, repeated steps that no one sees. I used to start new habits with excitement and energy, but I'd quit when results didn't come fast enough. I'd read a book on investing, track my spending for a week, hit the gym for a month, and then stop. One day, I realized I was addicted to starting but allergic to continuing. So I made a promise to myself, no more perfect plans, no more waiting for the right moment. I'd show up every single day, no matter what. I began scheduling daily wealth-building tasks into my life, reviewing my finances for 10 minutes a day, reading one page of a financial book, setting aside time to learn about new income streams. I treated consistency like my new currency. I learned that wealth doesn't reward intensity, it rewards longevity. You can't outwork inconsistency. You can't get rich by being disciplined for a week. The people who build fortunes don't do extraordinary things occasionally, they do ordinary things consistently. And once I understood that, my entire trajectory shifted. The third millionaire habit that changed my life was intentional spending. Most people think budgeting is about cutting back, but it's really about clarity. I used to believe wealth was about earning more, but I learned that true wealth begins with how you manage what you already have. Every dollar you earn is a soldier in your army. If you send them out without a mission, they'll never return. I began tracking every expense, not to restrict myself, but to understand myself. Where my money went revealed what I truly valued. When I saw I was spending more on temporary pleasures than on things that built long-term value, I knew something had to change. I stopped asking, "Can I afford this?" and started asking, "Does this move me closer to financial freedom or further away?" I cut out emotional spending, impulse purchases, and random upgrades that added no real joy. But I didn't deprive myself, I reallocated. The money I used to waste became my investment capital. I used it to buy assets, books, and courses that built my future. Intentional spending isn't about sacrifice, it's about strategy. When you align your spending with your values, you start feeling richer immediately, because every purchase becomes a reflection of your priorities. That shift in perspective made me realize that financial control equals emotional control. When you master one, you master the other. The fourth millionaire habit that completely reshaped my future was building multiple streams of income. Early on, I made the mistake of relying entirely on one paycheck. I thought job security was the same as financial security, but they're not. A single source of income is a single point of failure. I remember the anxiety I felt when I realized that if anything happened to my job, my entire lifestyle would collapse. That fear became my motivation. I decided that one stream of income was too close to none, but instead of chasing 10 side hustles at once, I took a strategic approach. I focused on mastering one income source first, my primary profession. I increased my value, improved my skills, and maximized my earnings. Then I used that extra cash flow to build new income streams, investments, dividends, small business ventures, digital assets. I diversified slowly, deliberately, one stream at a time. I learned that real financial freedom isn't about how much you earn, it's about how many ways your money works for you while you sleep. When you have multiple streams of income, you gain something far greater than money: peace of mind. You no longer panic about emergencies or recessions, because your wealth isn't dependent on one fragile source. And once that peace sets in, you start living from a place of power, not fear. The fifth and perhaps most underrated millionaire habit that transformed my life was protecting my mindset, because the truth is, your financial world will never exceed your mental world. If you think small, you'll act small. If you surround yourself with people who complain, settle, or make excuses, you'll become one of them. I realized that mindset isn't something you fix once, it's something you protect daily. I started filtering what I allowed into my mind: the conversations, the content, even the music. I replaced negative noise with growth. I began spending time around people who inspired me, not drained me. I stopped comparing myself to others and focused on comparing myself to who I was yesterday. Protecting my mindset became an act of wealth preservation, because money follows mindset. You can give someone with a poor mindset $1 million, and they'll lose it. But you can take everything from someone with a strong mindset, and they'll rebuild it. That's how powerful this habit is. The wealthiest people I know aren't just financially rich, they're mentally rich. They think differently. They don't let scarcity dictate their choices. They don't waste time worrying about what they can't control. They focus on what they can build. And that makes all the difference. These 5 habits: paying myself first, being consistent, spending intentionally, diversifying income, and protecting my mindset didn't just change my bank account, they changed my identity. I went from reacting to life to designing it. I stopped feeling like a victim of circumstance and became the architect of my own wealth. But here's what most people get wrong: they think these habits are optional. They're not. They're foundational. You can't skip them and expect success to last. Every millionaire I've ever met, studied, or worked with follows these principles, consciously or subconsciously. They've built systems around them. They've made them automatic. The real power of these habits isn't just in practicing them, it's in embodying them. When they become part of who you are, wealth stops being something you chase and starts being something you attract. And that's the real secret. Millionaire habits aren't about doing more, they're about becoming more. Most people are looking for tactics, but habits are identity-based. You don't get wealthy because you learn to save, you get wealthy because you become the kind of person who saves automatically. You don't get rich because you invest once, you get rich because you think like an investor every day. Once I understood that, everything I did changed. I stopped asking how can I get rich, and started asking how can I become the kind of person who naturally builds wealth. That question changed everything.